Hi, this is Risa with Risa Kerbo Creative. I love using lots of colors when I make felt flowers, and sometimes simple shapes are the best way to do that. One of my favorite shapes to use when making felt flowers is a circle. So for this rose design, I'm just using a 1.5-inch circle and adding some shading. I did go ahead and take the time to add shading to each side of the felt circles. You do not have to use shading, but it's a fun addition if you want a little bit more depth in your felt flower design. I did add shading to both sides and also used hairspray on both sides to seal that eyeshadow so it doesn't rub off. To start the flower, we put hot glue at the bottom of a circle, roll it up around an 18-gauge floral wire, and then build the flower around that. I add a circle to each side of the center, just doing a little smiley face of glue at the bottom of each flower petal. For this one, I went ahead and curved the petals out a little bit just to add some extra dimension. This is also optional, but because of that hairspray and just wool felt in general, you can manipulate and move it around a little bit, which makes it fun to add some personality to your felt flowers that way. After we have that center finished, we're going to add a layer of 3 petals and just keep building around, kind of paying attention to where you put it, wherever you like it, just moving around. 3 petals should fit really well in this layer, overlapping a little bit. And for the last layer, we will do 4 petals. Now, if you want to make a larger rose, you have a couple of options. You can just keep adding petals around, or you can go ahead and add some larger circles to the outside as you go around, like go up to 1.75 inch or 2 inch, and make your circles a little bit bigger as well to add size to these flowers. So once we finish this last layer, then we are finished with this flower. We just need a green leaf back. So this is a shape that I have on my website that I use for the back of the flowers. It's included in Felt Flower Design Hub, also available to buy individually. I use this shape a lot. Just fold it over, cut a slit, and put your stem through the middle of that shape, and then just glue up to the back of the flower. And I went ahead and did a little strip of glue on each of the 4 corners. You do not have to do that if you want a little bit more loose of a design. You do not have to glue the leaf petal or the leaf corners points to the back of the flower. Now, I wanted to show you a different color. One reason is because I did not really change the petals as much, like I didn't curve them out. I just built it around and wanted to show you that as well. And just pay attention to kind of where they fill in the gaps. I like them to fill in the gaps rather than stack up behind each other. I think this lends itself to just a more natural look, and your eye can kind of flow around the flower. You don't want circles directly behind the circle in front of it. You want it to fill in any gaps or dips where 2 petals join together. And this just really builds up a nice pretty flower as you add more and more petals. So we did that 1 in the center, 1 on each side of that, and then a layer of 3 and a layer of 4. So each of these roses uses a total of 10 1.5-inch circles. And then I add the leaf back to each flower after I'm finished. For this bouquet, I used 2 different styles. Well, it's the same shape, the same leaf shape in 2 different sizes, and then I used 2 different ways of attaching them. One way to do that is to just sandwich the leaf shape in between a wire. So this does use more petals. You need 2, 4, 6 for this instead of just 3. But it provides that flat background, which I like a lot sometimes in bouquet designs. It just really enhances the flower by adding a neat green backdrop to your bouquet. So sometimes it's extra work, but worth it if you like this style. I used an 18-gauge wire for the main stem and then 22 gauge for the wire that I twist around. This is the makeup sponges I've been using to apply the eyeshadow, and I didn't know what green I wanted to use, so I used a test piece of felt and just tested this out. I'm finding that with the pan pastels, which is that circle, I like the lighter colors rather than the darker. This dark green I haven't used very much, and I switched back to my eyeshadow to use some lighter green. You can blend them as well. So I just tested out what I wanted to do. Ended up going with that dark green. This is an LA Brights just eyeshadow palette, just regular eyeshadow. I'm using a makeup sponge that I cut into pieces and just apply it that way. And I'm kind of dabbing it. And then I'll spray it with hairspray after I'm done. And for this leaf, it was easiest for me just to apply the eyeshadow after I glued it onto the wire because it was flat. After you finish the leaf stem, you can just kind of go back, and I always do like a little quick quality control check because I'm telling you, I always have glue showing or something, glue strings. That's totally normal. Everyone has it. So I just go back usually and snip that off with some scissors. For this smaller leaf stem, I used the same color of eyeshadow, but I went ahead and applied it before I added it to the stem because I'm going to apply I'm going to use the glue a little bit differently when I attach these stems to the wire. And the way I'm going to do that is just by pinching it around. This is one of my favorite ways to make leaf stems. You can use this for a lot of different shapes. Just do a tiny bit of glue at the tip of that bottom of the leaf shape, and then just pinch it on either side of a 22 gauge wire, and then put one at the top of an 18 gauge wire. And then we're just going to twist that thin wire around the leaf stem and just stop when it's arranged the way you like it. And this is a really cute and easy leaf stem that looks really great in bouquets.